Hello and welcome to the AFL RIVERINA Football and Netball Show. I'm your host, Hannah Maguire. Now, there were a number of nail-biting finishes in both the RFL and the Farah League last weekend. Griffith had the bye in the RFL, but Brad George caught up with captain coach Guy Orton to see how his team is shaping up for the season ahead.
Now, mate, do you have a nickname? And if so, what's your nickname?
Nickname's Pipes. Come from an old mate. Long story short, we were on a bus trip and he saw some pipes out the window and it just stuck from there, Brad.
Who do you follow in the AFL?
Essendon I follow, so yeah, that's all.
Who'll win the 2013 AFL Premiership?
I think Geelong will win the Premiership this year. I'd love to see Essendon up there, but I don't think that they'll get there.
Now, who's the team to beat in the 2013 Riverina Football League?
Team to beat this year, Coolman seemed to have a good start, but in saying that, I think it's going to be, pretty open and should be a good comp this year.
Apart from a three-peat, who'll win the Quinn Medal in 2013?
It's pretty hard. There's some good new recruits through the RFL, so I'm not too sure who would win it this year. But look, anyone on there, have a good year. Anyone could win it.
Who's been training the house down for the pre-season at your club?
John O'Gaston and James Fallon probably have hardly missed a training session since the start of November and have been training really well. So, look, they're probably our standout sort of trainers this year.
Which player are you looking forward to stepping up the next level in 2013?
Next player to stand up this year is probably three of our young kids. Haven't really played that much senior football, but hopefully they stand up this year, which is Joel Gordon, Tom West and Daniel Peruzzi.
So who's the opposition player that gives your club the most trouble trying to contain and keep a lid on?
I'd probably say Brad Aiken, would be the one that's hard to contain. He's just solid over the ball and gets a lot of the ball when we play them. So, yeah.
Just one off the cuff. Who's the president of the Riverina Football and Netball League?
President of the Netball and Football League is Rob Nash.
Now, who's your funniest teammate at your club?
That'd have to be Shay Jenkins, actually. Yeah, he's very funny on and off the piss.
Now, what's your most embarrassing football moment on the field?
My most embarrassing would probably be when I was about 7 years old, running with the ball, looking at my mum, and she's going, "You're going the wrong way." So that'd probably be my most embarrassing, Brad.
How about a funniest moment on the field? What's something you've absolutely seen that you just couldn't believe?
Probably that'd be Shay Jenkins again, playing Gairmain last year, running down the wing and went to bounce it straight into a puddle.
What's been the best piece of football advice you've ever received?
Best piece of football advice would probably be from an old mate that played a lot of football with, Wayne Eve. He just said, "Don't let anyone get in the way of your goals." That's probably the best advice I'd say.
And what do you think makes a good coach?
Good coach, I'd say, is someone that can relate to the older players and also relate to the younger players as well. Good communicator and just good overall with the coaching side of things and the personality, how you address the players and all that sort of stuff.
Thanks, Brad and Guy. Now, Shane Buchanan from AFL Riverina now joins us in the studio. Welcome to the show, Shane. Now, the match of the round this weekend is the reigning premiers Narrandera versus, I guess you could say, premiership favourites for this year, Coolman. Now, Narrandera sort of knocked Coolman out of the premiership race in the preliminary final last year. Do you think Coolman will be back to get revenge this week?
Externally, they'll be saying it's just another game, Hannah, and going about their business and trying to beat a contender, I suppose, at finals time against Narrandera. Internally, I suppose, no doubt there'd be some sort of get back at them, I suppose. They kicked us out of the premiership race last year. It was only by 8 points sort of thing, so you never know what happens in a grand final. But anyway, that's in the past. They'll be looking to the future. So Coolman will go into the game, I think, confident, but probably looking to play on the Narrandera Sports Ground. They love the ground. It suits their type of game style. So, yeah, looking for a revenge, but probably the opportunity to play on the Narrandera when the finals are played as well.
Okay, now I know it's early in the season, but you'd have to say Coolman, they'd be up there as the premiership favourites right now.
Well, I suppose you've got them and Gamay both on 16 points as we speak at the moment. I suppose it's just something to look at there. Coolman's actually had the bye and Gamay hasn't. So you'd probably say Gamay's probably the team out in front at the moment. They've played 4 games and won 4 games. Coolman have played 3 and won 3. Yeah, I think the competition's that open. I mean, there's some surprising results in regards to, say, Collingully and Wagga Tigers losing some close games, and they're obviously down near the bottom of the ladder, which we didn't expect. But I think there's a number of teams that can win this competition. That's why this competition is such an exciting competition, because there's so many even teams in it.
Yeah, Narendra, they fought out a close tussle with Turvey Park last week. Do you think they have the goods to come up against the Hoppers?
Well, I think they'll be in the game. There's no doubt about it. They've got too many match winners in the likes of Johnson up forward. He'll go into the ruck as well. Phil Oram also as a ruckman for Narendra. And they'll be up against Ben Annaveen and TJ Owens, that'll be a good battle in the forward line. I mean, Johnson is a prolific goal kicker as well. So Coolman will probably have Murray Stevenson on him, trying to handle him. Up Coolman's end, Lou Roberts, recruited local junior, come back out of Melbourne, back home. He'll be a danger for the Narendra Eagles as well. But I suppose the highlight will be the battle of the midfield. I think Hannah in the likes of Jimmy Rice, Sullivan, Hetherington, up against Maddox, Chamberlain, and also Fixter. That should be where the game will be won and lost, and it should be really interesting to see who gets on top.
Righto. In other RFL matches, we've got Collingully versus Leighton Witten. Now, Collingully's form doesn't sort of represent how they're sort of playing, like the style of football they're playing at the moment.
Yeah, and they'll be kicking themselves. I think on the weekend they had the opportunity to win the game. Poor kicking for goal at times, I think, was evident. So Collingully will go into the game confident. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they've lost 3 games under 9 points, I think it is. So, if they turn their seat, if they won those games, they're probably sitting on top of the ladder, cruising along, probably no dramas at all. So they'll need to turn that around. Leighton, form's been a bit up and down, I suppose, beaten at home by Mangapla. Probably a bit of a surprise, I suppose, but in the end, I mean, they've got a lot of young kids they're blooding this year. So looking for a winner there, though. I think Collingully should win. I just think they've got probably too much power up forward for the Leighton Crows.
Rightio. Griffith and the Tigers?
Yeah, this will be a good game. Probably a point of interest there. Matt Noonan played for Griffith for a number of years, and now he's gone back to Wagga Tigers. So they'll welcome him back there, no doubt, to the Griffith Sports Ground. Looking for a win here. Wagga Tigers have been in the same boat, I suppose. I was down there watching the game against Gamay. They should have won the game. It's as simple as that. But anyway, that's football. Gamay got away with it and got the 4 points. So Tigers' form isn't too bad. They've just been losing games, close games. So a bit like Collingully. If they won those close games, will they be up higher up the ladder and obviously travelling a lot better than what they are? It's a must-win for Wagga Tigers. And they're travelling for Griffith, never easy over there, but I think Tigers have probably got too much to play for at this stage and get over the Griffith Swans.
All right, now this should be a close game. Turvey and Mango, you'd have to say, they'd be pretty even competition, wouldn't you?
Oh, you would. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Mangapla had a fantastic win at Leighton. Never easy at Leighton to win over there, and they did really well. Turvey Park started the year off with a bang, I suppose, against Wagga Tigers, but their form has declined, I suppose, a little bit. So a really even game here. Toss of the coin. Mangapla probably are travelling a little bit better than Turvey Park at the moment, and I think the Goannas should get over the Bulldogs in that one.
All right, well, that wraps up the RFL. We'll move on to the Farrer League now. The Northern Jets, they're going for 4 on the trot against Mara. Can they come up with the goods again?
I think they will. Yeah, they're travelling really well, recruited really well over the off-season. There's no doubt about that. They've got some quality players, been well coached by Jamie Granell. Mara, very disappointing last week, kicked 4 goals for the game. Didn't kick a goal in the second half, I don't think, and Tamora blew him out of the water. So no doubt Clint Taylor at Mara, the coach there, has got a bit of work to do during the week to get the boys up against quality opposition. But I think the Jets will be too strong for the Bombers. Yeah,
now speaking of Tamora, they've really lifted their game since that round 1 loss against the Jets. You'd have to pick them over CSU, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. I think they got to kick up the bum, I think, probably in that first round after being beaten by the Jets. So they'll go into the game with plenty of confidence. CSU went and watched that game against North Wagga last week. It was a wind-affected game, so I mean it wasn't the best spectacle, but it was a good, hard-fought win. The way they won a good close game is always important. It was on the line, and they got over the line. So Coach Brett Garrett, you're really happy with that. But I don't think they've got enough class to get over the top of Tamora.
Rightio. The next game, East Wagga, they'd have to be desperate for a win against Coleambally this weekend. Who are you tipping in that one?
Yeah, this is a flip of the coin, this one. East Wagga's form hasn't been too bad. I mean, they nearly ran over the Jets, I think, out at the RAF base, they, the Jets were lucky to hold them off. They've just been losing games by small margins as well. So, yeah, look, this is a tough one. Collie Ambley travelling over. I mean, Collie's form hasn't been too bad. I mean, it's been a bit up and down, but by the same token, they've got a win, so that's a bonus for them. East Wagga haven't got a win yet, and I might just go with East Wagga maybe at home.
Rightio. And the last game, North Wagga, they take on the Rock out at McPherson Oval. Who are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this will be a good game. I mean, the Rock look, they're one of the teams to beat. There's no doubt about that. Their form's been red hot, along with probably the Jets at this stage early in the season. North Wagga got a lot of young kids. There's no doubt about that. As I said, went and watched that game last week. Some really good kids, and young Thompson on a wing was impressive, I thought, for the North Wagga boys. They'll need every player playing at their best to get over the Magpies, and I don't think I can see that. I think the Magpies should get over the Saints.
Well, there you have it. All the tips from the expert there. Now, that's unfortunately all we've got time for. Thanks for joining us in the studio today, Shane, again. You can find us online at aflriverina.com.au for more hot tips and interesting interviews next week. We'll see you then.